How's it going, Red Sox fans? Welcome to episode 17 of the BLEAV in Red Sox podcast. How is everyone doing, everyone? Hello. Hope everyone is having a wonderful, I don't know what time you're listening to this, but if it's in the morning, hope you have a great day today. If you're listening to this with me live right now, hope you're having a great day. We are actually, what time is it here? It's 10:15 on the East Coast here. The Red Sox are actually playing the Twins right now. The Twins actually just put up a few runs, and now the Red Sox lead is just gone like that. What can you do? We're going to talk about the Red Sox tonight. Are the Red Sox playoff hopes over? Man, oh man. If you go back to the previous episode, the topic of that was this past week a make or break week for the Red Sox? A couple of key series against the Blue Jays and the Rays. We're going to dive into those. And hey, considering now you just got swept by the Blue Jays, you did win 2 out of 3 against the Rays. That's pretty good. But that sweep of the Blue Jays, that was a rough one. And so now I'm wondering, are the playoff hopes over? I'm going to break it down as best as I can and maybe offer a little bit of optimism, maybe offer some pessimism as well. And we'll have to just wait and see what my thoughts are. But everyone, I do want to thank you for joining us tonight. If you are with me live here on YouTube, if you are listening to this, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, whether that's Spotify, Google, Stitcher, wherever, thank you for tuning in. But before I do get into tonight's episode, just want to go over the sponsor for episode 17 of the BLEAV in Red Sox podcast, and that is, as always, BetOnline. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BLEAV50, BLEAV 50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Also, don't forget, everyone, we are partners here with SeatGeek. I've had a few of you this past week use the code HYDE, HYDE. You get $20 off your first purchase. I'm telling you, I'm not going to be partners with anyone here on my channel unless I actually believe in their product, and I have used SeatGeek multiple times. So when I found out they were, maybe interested in a partnership, I was all about it. And hey, use my promo code. We still got a lot of time left before the end of the season. Take advantage of that code. You get $20 off. Hey, they can get you a hot dog and a beer. That's not too bad if you ask me. And also, don't forget, we just talked about BetOnline, but we're also partners with Prize Picks, another way to fulfill your sports betting needs. Prize Picks, they do the over-unders. You're going against the system. You're not going up against other people. So it's a fun system. Go check it out. You get a 100% deposit match if you use my code GINGER. So everyone, let's get to it here. We're just going to break down this past week. We had a series against the Blue Jays. We had a series against the Rays this past weekend. Not really going to get into tonight's game really all that much. I'll take a quick look and see what's going on. But I'm going to, as of right now, I am back to work. So really at this time, I'm only able to go live maybe like once a week, maybe a couple more times a week as we get closer to the end of the season. But right now, busy schedule for me at the moment. So let's just focus on this past week, and let's focus on whether or not the Red Sox have any chance of making the playoffs. Are their hopes dashed at this point? So let's take a look here. If you're with me here on YouTube, you can see my screen. So let's get back to this let's take a look at the current standings. As of right now, the Red Sox 62 and 66, 7 games back. They're 3-7 in their last 10, a negative 48 run differential. They're just, they're having a tough month here. They're playing a little better lately. I mean, I don't want to say better, but I don't want to say they're playing good, but they're a little better than what they were doing prior. That sweep of the Blue Jays was pretty rough. So let's go take a look at that series overall. The Blue Jays just absolutely just dominated this game early on, scoring 8 runs in the third inning. Winkowski just got absolutely lit up. Going back to AAA recently, he got lit up there as well in his next start. But Winkowski, man, he was having some flashes there, mid-season. But overall, man, when you're going up against a good offense here with the Blue Jays, you were really not going to get anything done. Devers had a good game here in this one, 3 for 4, had an RBI there. But the Blue Jays, this game was over in the third inning. And if we take a look here in games 2 and 3, the Blue Jays won both of these games late. Runs in the top of the 10th in both games. The bullpen not able to come through for the Red Sox in these ones. If you take a look at the box scores here in game 2, Brayan Bello, who is pitching tonight against the Twins, he did all right in this one. 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned. He did strike out 7 guys. Telling you with Brayan Bello, man, he is really showing some flashes, and I do think he is going to have himself a spot in the rotation for next year. This guy really showing a lot of promise, but overall, in the end, the bullpen was not able to lock this one down. Brian Brazier giving up the double there to George Springer, and that was all she wrote there. And then in game 3, once again, the Blue Jays taking this one in extras. Again, the Red Sox, they battled in this one. First game, that game was pretty much over in the third inning, but games 2 and 3, they battled. They went right to the end with this Blue Jays team, but that just shows this Blue Jays team, man, they had a bit of a weird week. They were a very up and down week for the Blue Jays, but they took advantage of against the Red Sox in this series. So taking a look at the box scores in this one, and this was another one. Winkowski getting lit up against the Blue Jays, and Cutter Crawford. This is a guy. He was doing all right there for a little bit, but lately just not really getting it done. 4 2/3 in this one, gave up 10 hits, 4 runs, struck out 5. But in the end, actually, I will say this. The Red Sox have not been able to figure out Kevin Gausman this year, and they actually did get to him a little bit. 5 innings for Gausman, 9 hits, 4 earned. The way Gausman has pitched against the Red Sox this year, absolutely out of his mind. So it was nice to see the Red Sox finally put up a fight against him, because he has just dominated them this year. But the Blue Jays bullpen really came through in this one. Unfortunately, Schreiber, in the last few weeks, he still has good numbers overall, but he hasn't been quite as effective as he was. He was going through like a dominant stretch there for a little while, but not quite as effective. So in the end, the Blue Jays sweeping this series, and this was a tough one for the Red Sox to swallow, getting swept at home. At the end of the series, they dropped to 5 games under 500. So after this one, going into the Tampa series, Jaren Duran was actually sent back down to the minor leagues. And to be honest with you, it was only a matter of time, because the bat was doing pretty well when he first came up. But if you take a look at the numbers over the last couple of months, he was doing really well in the month of June. 12 games in June, he was hitting 333, but in July, only hit 184 over 87 at-bats. In August, over 20 games, only hitting 180. So it was time for him to go down. He was playing bad defense out there. If you take a look at his defensive numbers on the year, this guy's not a center fielder, man. He has a negative 4.8 defense. This is a left fielder, man. And I think for him, whether, who knows what could end up happening in the offseason, the way Chaim Bloom likes to operate. Could Jaren Duran maybe be a part of some kind of a deal at some point? You don't know. I do think Duran, though, the reason I'm bringing that up is because I think this guy's a left fielder. I don't think he's a center fielder, unless the guy is very athletic. Can he figure it out? Can he, spend an offseason really just drill center field into his brain? I don't know. It's going to be tough. You would think, hey, with the speed that he has, but he just really looked silly out there a lot. So it's going to be interesting with this offseason with Jaren Duran. Overall, over 57 games this season, hitting 220 with a 283 on base and a 365 slugging. Decent base running at a 0.7, but had a few homers there, 7 stolen bases. But there's a ways to go for him, and I think mentally the defense kind of got to him a little bit. I feel like he was trying to focus on just too much, because the bat was doing really well. But once those flaws started showing defensively, you started seeing the bat start to dwindle. So I think we'll see Duran again at some point. But he was sent back down. So Trevor Story, who got activated for the Rays series on Saturday, so he ended up getting that was the move. Jaren Duran going down and then Story coming back. But Friday night, hey, man, the Red Sox, Tampa, they came on strong there in the 8th. They scored 4 in the 8th there. They really made it close. But the Red Sox scoring enough runs in this one. Bogarts had a great game. Pham and Verdugo at the top of the lineup were absolutely fantastic. Everyone contributing in this lineup. Kike Hernandez having a good game here, 3 for 5. Had an RBI. Frankie Cordero had a home run there in the 4th inning off of Yarbrough. Just a lot of good offense in this game. And you've been seeing this Red Sox offense not fully clicking, not at its full strength, because you've had guys like Bogarts, Devers, JD Martinez really struggling, but you're starting to see some signs from those guys. And in the end, the Red Sox offense was just good enough to hold off the Tampa Bay Rays and their late charge. Wacha, hey, 6 innings for Wacha in this one, 4 earned, 5 hits, 6 Ks, did give up a couple of home runs, but Wacha, 9-1 on the year. Gotta love what he's doing, man. He's bringing just stability back to this rotation. That's what they really needed. But the Red Sox able to pull out the win in Game 1 as well as Game 2. Great pitching from Rich Hill in this one. Rich Hill was out of his mind. This honestly might be Rich Hill's best start of the entire year. If I were to actually pull up Rich Hill and his game log. So if you go to Fangraphs, you can actually look at the players, the pitcher's game scores in this one. So if I actually pull up here his game log, that was by far his best start. He had a game score of 84 in this one. 7 innings, 3 hits, 11 Ks. This dude was on a mission, man. He was just lights out in this one. Gotta love what he was doing, man. And hey, he kind of proved me wrong a little bit. I've been saying about Rich Hill, this is a guy, he's going to come in 4, 5, maybe 6 innings, give up a couple of runs, 3, 4, But hey, he came into this one, a Rays team that's playing pretty good lately, and he just dominated in this one, man. He was a joy to watch in this one. And the Red Sox, in the end, they were just cruising in this one. Schreiber ended up finishing it off for his 5th save of the season. Familia got roughed up a little bit there, but in the end, he gave up 3 hits and a run there in the 8th inning. But hey, the Red Sox, good game for them overall in Game 2, but then Game 3, the Rays really took it to them offensively, winning the finale. 30 hits combined in this game. There was a lot of hits in this game. The Red Sox just weren't able to come through with runners in scoring position. Pavetta, I'll tell you, Pavetta had a really good, besides like that first month of the season, Pavetta was on quite a roll. And if we take a look at Pavetta's splits here, I'm going to look at his first half splits along with his second half splits. So in the first half, now again, it was that first month, he had a 4.5 ERA in the first half. In the second half, he has a 4.12. So he is pitching overall better in the second half, but you got to remember that first month was so bad with him. He had an ERA of 8, over 8 at 8.27. In May, he had an ERA of 2.11. In June, he had an ERA of 2.25. July, he really got roughed up in July. And in August, he has been a little bit better with a 4.08 ERA. But Pavetta, he's definitely had his ups and downs lately, and he definitely got hit pretty good against the Rays in the finale there. So in the end, the Red Sox, you would have loved for them to get the sweep. Kluber pitched well enough in this one, 6 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs, gave up 3 home runs. But you would have liked for the Red Sox, if they could have gotten the sweep here, that pretty much would just cancel out the Blue Jays sweep. But overall, not a great week for the Red Sox. Not a great week overall. Sure, they won this series against the Rays, but in the end, you go 2-4 on the week. So what can you do? And again, going back to the standings, the Red Sox are 7 games out. So the question is, what are their chances now, man? Like, are their playoff hopes over? And I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's done. I think it's over. And, that might be a little pessimistic. I just don't see them really doing – I don't see them going on a crazy run. Here's what I think. I could be wrong. I'm very wrong a lot. But I do think they can make it a little interesting because there are some signs from the Red Sox lately where maybe – they have a bit of a run in them. Now, I don't know if they have enough of a run to be able to get a wild card spot. I don't think they have enough there. But can they maybe get a little closer? Could they get 4 games back? Maybe 3. I could see something like that where they start winning a few games there in the month of September. Maybe it gets a little interesting, but I think in the end, I just don't think it's going to be enough for this Red Sox team. And let's take a look at the playoff odds when it comes to Fangraphs. So right now, Fangraphs, they're not liking the Red Sox chances of making it in. A 2.7% chance of making the playoffs. Obviously, that's according to my calculations, that is pretty low. So Fangraphs not in favor of the Red Sox. But let's take a look at some of the numbers. And this is where I do think the Red Sox, they have a little something left in the tank. I don't think this team is completely done. I do think they have a little something left. And here's why. Over the last 7 games, the Red Sox, they have a 131 WRC plus, which ranks 6th in Major League Baseball over the last 7 games. So they're starting to come around a little bit. You're starting to see some guys really pick it up with the bats. If we go take a look here, leading the way offensively as of late. Actually, Frankie Cordero, man, oh man, he really started picking it up over the last 7, or actually that's over the last 14 days. Frankie Cordero, 4 home runs in the last 14 days, but over the last 7. Hey, Reese McGuire has actually been hitting a little bit, hitting 500 over his last 4 games, but Xander Bogaerts has really started to pick up the pace lately. He was really going through a bit of a slump there, but over his last 7, hitting 389, with a 429 on base and a 611 slugging. You got to love that. Alex Verdugo, he's still, for the most part, hitting pretty well. You're starting to see some life from Bobby Dahlback. Christian Arroyo has been hitting really well. Tommy Pham has been hitting really well as of late, too. Rafael Devers, you would like for him to get a little more juice there. Not really hitting all that amazing. He's not being that presence in the lineup that you're used to seeing. JD Martinez did have a home run over the weekend, finally hitting a home run, man. I don't know what's been going on with JD Martinez and that power stroke, but you're able to come through with a homer there. But in the end, you still need Devers and you still need Martinez to start coming through a little bit. If we go take a look at the batted ball, as of right now, if we take a look at the hard hit percentage, Christian Arroyo right now, 69.2 hard hit percentage. And if you take a look at JD Martinez, he has been hitting the ball really well. He ranks 3rd in the last 7 days on the Red Sox with a 45% hard hit percentage. So you're starting, and Devers as well, 38.9. You're starting to see them hit the ball a little harder. So they're making some better contacts. So I do think they will start to wake up a little bit. And I think that's only obviously going to help this offense. But the Red Sox, one thing with the Red Sox this year, they have not been a great defensive team. If you take a look, 21st overall in the fielding. So they're going to have to tighten it up a little bit. I think Story coming back is going to help. Obviously, Story, his glove has been his most valuable piece for him this year. So I think that's only going to help solidify that defense behind them. But overall, the Red Sox are going to need to play some good defense. And I think Jaren Duran, keeping him out of the outfield, you got to stick with your best guys for right now, and Duran's not that. So, and Kike Hernandez is back now as well. So I think the defense is going to be a little bit better for the Red Sox. Statistically, not great, but they haven't had Kike. They haven't had Story for a little while. Those 2 guys, good defensive players, are going to come back into this, onto the team, and they're going only to help defensively. So moving on to the pitching. Now, the Red Sox, if you take a look, in Fangraph WAR over the last 7 games, they rank 14th overall in starting pitching. The ERA does not look pretty. 6.23 ERA over the last 7 games. I mean, a lot of that is Cutter Crawford, Winkowski, Pavetta a little bit as well. But if you take a look at the FIP, it's a 3.72. That's a lot better. So that a FIP is more of an expected number. So the Red Sox are pitching better than what the ERA says. They have over 10 strikeouts per 9. They have under 3 walks per 9, giving up a few home runs there, 1.19 home runs per 9. So they're pitching well, starting pitching-wise overall. Rich Hill obviously had an amazing start the other day. Walker's pitching very well. So I think the starting pitching is looking pretty good. And you're going to be getting Nathan Eovaldi back soon. On Friday, he pitched a 25-pitch bullpen session, so you are going to get him back. I think that's going to help the starting pitching a little bit. So I think the Red Sox, offensively, defensively, starting pitching-wise, there's some hope there. There are some good signs to where maybe they can start just playing better overall. And the bullpen. Let's take a look at the bullpen here. Let me pull this up here. So the Red Sox bullpen over the last 7, 16th overall. They've been kind of whatever. A 4.91 ERA over the last 7 games. A 4.02 FIP. That's better, but it's not amazing by any means. They're not getting a lot of strikeouts in that bullpen. So they're going to have to try and get some of these guys to really start pumping it up, man. And they did make a move with the bullpen. Getting rid of Hirokazu Sawamura. I'm going to be honest. I think that was way overdue. This guy, I don't know what it was with him. He just couldn't really ever get comfortable in that Red Sox bullpen. Signing him was, I thought, really cool. I was really excited about that because this is a guy, had a really good fastball over in Japan, a good splitter as well. He just never quite got it together. He had good numbers overall when it came to like his ERA, and the FIP wasn't terrible, but he had an xFIP of 4.50. But the problem with Sawamura, he was walking a lot of guys. He had just under 5 walks per 9. Strikeouts per 9. He wasn't striking out a lot of guys. He just wasn't doing anything for this bullpen. And then Austin Davis, he just hasn't really been able to get it together lately. This was a guy, man, he was looking really good there early on in the season, but he just wasn't really able to put anything together. I mean, if you take a look at the ERA, the FIP was a lot better with him, a 9.72 ERA, but a 3.61 FIP. But this guy was walking a ton of guys. They were giving him every chance to try and keep his spot in the bullpen. He just wasn't striking anyone out. He was walking a lot of guys. Good stuff from Austin Davis. Not bad stuff at all, but he just wasn't really producing the results. Jeurys Familia has turned out to be a much better option than either of those guys because he's getting strikeouts. And while his command isn't all that amazing, he has just under 5 walks per 9. He has over 11 strikeouts per 9. And the FIP is at a 2.24. He's got good velocity. So Jeurys Familia has been a pretty decent pickup. Very similar to Hector Robles from last year. That's a very similar pickup with Familia there. So he's been the better option for them. So I'm not surprised they cut ties with Sawamura and Davis. Now, the question is with Brazier, man. Ryan Brazier has just been absolutely abysmal. But the Red Sox, I think the reason they hung on to him was because of his strikeout numbers and his walk numbers. His ERA is absolutely horrendous. 17.36 ERA. That is just awful. But the 7.41 FIP, that's not good at all either. But it's the strikeout numbers with Brazier, and the walks are not really abysmal. So I think that's why they hung on to him. He's got, and that's another thing with Brazier. He has the velocity. With Davis, he was averaging around like 94 miles an hour. Sawamura with him, he was at around 96 miles an hour. But Sawamura, over his last 7 games, we looked at his overall numbers. His walks were so bad. He had over 8 walks per 9 over the last 7 games, and he was barely striking anyone out. So the velocity was good with him, but he was just so hittable. I don't know if it was like a he's just lacking deception or, the command, obviously. He's not really able to hit his spots very well. So I think his hitters were picking up on him so easily. So why did Brazier end up staying? Because he has the good strikeout to walk numbers. So that's pretty much what it is. And Familia has been a pretty nice surprise overall. But the Red Sox bullpen, I think it's fine. I don't think it's amazing by any means. Obviously, Tanner Houck would make this a lot better right now. But it is what it is. While Schreiber is giving up some runs here and there, the ERA over his last 7 is a 5.06, but the FIP is a 2.94. So that is a good sign with Schreiber overall. Not bad strikeout numbers, right around 8.5, a little over 3 walks per 9. So the bullpen is fine. It's not amazing, but they can get the job done. The question here is, can the Red Sox keep hitting? Can they play some better defense? And can they get some more production out of the starting rotation? There are some good signs there. So, in the end, I do think the Red Sox, they have a little bit of a run in them because the statistics are showing that they have, so there are some good signs, right? And it seems like maybe, just maybe, all of these aspects of the team maybe could come together. Now, I'm not saying they're going to go on a complete rampage in the month of September and just absolutely go on fire and get a wild card spot. I feel like they are going to come up short in the end, but I will not be surprised if they end up making it a little interesting. Maybe, they get within 4, maybe 3 games. I could see that, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they just completely implode in the month of September as well. So I'll bet that the Red Sox, they play a little better than 500 in the month of September. So we'll just have to wait and see. I don't think the Red Sox are making the playoffs. I think the Blue Jays, I just think the Blue Jays are just right there to breaking out. The Rays have been playing some great baseball lately. The Yankees it seems like they're on. Well, I mean, the Yankees aren't going to not make the playoffs. I'm just pointing out here. The Yankees, it seems like lately, maybe they're starting to get their act together a little bit. They won 2 against the Mets this past week. They ended up splitting with Oakland over the weekend. But, I think, and if you're taking a look at the wild card standings overall, where are those standings here? I swear, when I have so many tabs open, I can't see anything. Here we go. Here are the standings. Really, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Toronto. I think Seattle and Tampa, they're hanging on to those first 2 wild card spots. That series with Toronto, that was a dagger, in my opinion. You got swept. You can't, that's a big time series, and you had a couple extra inning games there, and you couldn't come through. To me, I think that was pretty much nail in the coffin at that point. You only have one more Here's one thing. I do look at the Red Sox schedule, and there is one interesting thing here, is you have one more series against the Blue Jays late. It's on the road. So if they can maybe put together some wins here, you got the Blue Jays for one more series there. And if you get within, 4 games by that time, and maybe go to Toronto, win 2 out of 3, and maybe you give yourself a shot in the last series of the year against Tampa at home, that's really the best scenario I can see. That's really it. I think at this point, I'll give the Red Sox like a 1% chance of making it. It's not looking very good. It's not looking very good. So I'm sorry, Red Sox fans, listening to episode 17 of the Believe in Red Sox podcast. I'm not feeling it. I feel like they have a little bit of a run, but I think they're just going to come up short. So, but we do have a few things to talk about here. So we've already talked about Jaren Duran going back down. Trevor Story getting activated, coming back finally. It's nice to see Trevor Story again. But we do have some guys down on the farm that I do want to pay attention to. Tristan Cassis has been hitting pretty well lately. Homered this past weekend. And if you take a look at the game log, man, he's been doing pretty good. Looking at the month of August here, in August, he's hitting .329 with a .461 on base and a .549 slugging, a couple of homers, 10 RBIs, 19 walks compared to 20 strikeouts. Tristan Cassis has been looking really good. So I wonder if maybe you could see him a little bit, maybe for a few games, maybe the last couple of weeks of the season. We'll have to wait and see. But Cassis has been hitting really well, showing a lot of poise at the plate. I mean, when you're walking 20 times compared to 20 strikeouts, that's pretty good if you ask me. Another guy who's been doing pretty well lately, Thad Ward. This is kind of one of these prospects with the Red Sox. You don't really hear a lot about this guy. He actually went to the University of Central Florida. That's where I went to school, Mr. Thad Ward. We are alumni of UCF. So let me actually go to the Red Sox top prospects here. And Thad Ward, taking a look here. Where is he on MLB Pipeline? I think he's probably, 10 through 15? Maybe is he in the top 10? No. Thad Ward's number 16 as of right now. But he is showing some pretty good stuff lately, man. He's 25 years old. So I'm wondering if maybe you're going to see him eventually over the next year or two. But right now, overall in the season, he's 0-2 with the record. But over 11 games, he has a 2.63 ERA and over 41 innings, he has 51 strikeouts. But taking a look at his last start from the other day, he went 5 innings. He had 10 strikeouts. That's pretty good. He gave up 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk. But he had 10 Ks through 5. So Thad Ward, I'm giving you a shout out, my friend. Hey, don't forget about Emmanuel Valdez. This was the guy they got in the Christian Vasquez trade. And he has not been having a very good month overall since coming over to the Red Sox organization, but this guy's had very good numbers overall this year, hitting .298 on the year in the minor leagues with a .384 on base and a .943 OPS. Hey, Emmanuel Valdez, I'm really excited about this guy, man. But other than that, there's not a whole lot else to talk about. Marcelo Meyer, let's take a look at how he's been doing as of late. So over his last 10 games, he's been doing pretty good, man, down in Salem. So if we take a look, he had 4 hits the other night, going 4 for 4 there, had a couple of RBIs. And, hey, man, Marcelo Meyer, I'm just getting more and more excited about this guy. Brayan Bello, let's take a look at how he's doing so far tonight. As of right now, it is 4-2 Minnesota. But Brayan Bello ended up only just pitching 4 innings in this one. 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs. Hey, Brayan Bello, I do think this is a guy that you are going to see over next. I think you're going to see him in the rotation next year. And also, speaking of some guys, we had Zach Kelly come up from the minor leagues, as well as Caleb Ort when Austin Davis got sent down, when he got DFA'd along with Hirokazu Sawamura. They brought up Zach Kelly and Caleb Ort, and both of those guys have actually pitched in this game. So let me actually go pull up their numbers from the minors this year. So these are a couple of guys where, hey, let's see what these guys can do. But let's see here, Caleb Ort. This year in the minor leagues with him, he's actually had pretty good numbers. So he's got good velocity as well. So that's another thing. He's got a 2.88 ERA, a 2.69 FIP, almost 12 strikeouts per 9 in AAA this year. And if we take a look at Zach Kelly this year, he's got good numbers as well. 2.72 ERA, a 2.81 FIP, 13 strikeouts per 9. So Chaim Bloom, he's thinking here, all right, Sawamura, Davis, these guys, they're not striking anyone out. Let's get a couple of guys up from the minor leagues, getting a ton of strikeouts, got some pretty good numbers overall. So I think that was the right move for the bullpen. I know I was talking about the bullpen a lot lately, but maybe these two guys can really bring some stability. Got some pretty good arms there. So the Red Sox, in the end, everyone, I do think they have a bit of a shot. Maybe I wouldn't say a shot at making the playoffs. I would say they have more of a shot of making it interesting. Maybe they could get within a few games. We'll have to wait and see. But we did have a super chat earlier. Mets fan, what's going on, my friend? Mets are awesome. Red Sox suck. Oh, Mets fan, come on. We're already feeling it, my friend. We're already feeling it. But everyone, I want to thank you for coming out for episode 17 of the Believe in Red Sox podcast. Just really more of a recap, if anything, just giving my quick thoughts. But hey, they're just, and it's easier said than done, but you're just going to have to start putting some wins together if you want any chance at this thing. We'll have to wait and see. But everyone, don't forget about today's sponsor, Bet Online. Use the code BLEAV50 to get a 50% welcome bonus. Don't forget about our code with SeatGeek. Use my code HYDE. You get $20 off your first purchase. And don't forget about Prize Picks, a 100% deposit match. Use my code Ginger. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Right now, what is it? Almost 11 o'clock at night here. I am tired. I gotta go to bed. If you are listening to this, wherever you're listening to your favorite podcast, if you're listening to this in the morning, maybe tomorrow night, tomorrow afternoon, hope you're having a great day. And everyone, I will see you next week for episode 18 of the Believe in Red Sox podcast. And don't forget, on my channel as well, we just did power rankings last night. Go check those out on my channel. If you didn't see those, go see who I have in my top 5. And also be on the lookout for hot takes, everyone. Probably Wednesday night. I've already posted something in the community tab for you to post your hot takes. So definitely go check that out and see if you can make the show for Wednesday. Everyone, have yourself a great night or a great rest of your day whenever you're listening to this. And I will talk to you.